Any moment. There it is.
Maybe sometime this year.
DMs and YouTube. There we are. We are live.
Live. All right. Gang, you are not going to believe what I heard about. Oh.
That's right.
Well, if it was about the Mac, you're going to hear about it today.
That's true.
Okay.
Maybe an iPhone. All right, do that. And let's do that tweet. Man, I love Stream Deck.
Right.
I got my tweet button.
I took mine with me when I was traveling just in case. And I have no idea where it is now.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's horrible.
I know.
All right, get that going. We got a Mastodon here. Oh, that's right, Britt. You're not a Mastodon, are you?
I know I need to do this. It's just not a thing I've sat down to do.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's a lot going on.
There is.
Just in general. I can see where joining yet another social media platform would be a low priority.
Yeah, I'm actually like taking a class on TikTok marketing. So it's taken a lot of my energy.
I've been trying to get to there, but
yeah, it's specifically for business owners. So like one of the things she cares a lot about is making sure that we're like getting the revenue we want to get out of it.
Oh, right. Without spending all that time on it.
Yeah. But I started the class. She's like, yeah, so these are the things you should already have in place. And I was like, excuse me, I'm going to go hire a business coach real quick and try to do all of those right now. Thanks.
That's right. Yep.
And so I haven't spent as much time doing TikTok as I have spent trying to get those things together.
All right. Looks like I got. Always hate you have to get your guys' names to come up. Mastodon. Now that worked.
You don't have to worry about mine.
Oh, I didn't. I put you in there, but it won't.
Whoa. I just got a notification that Dave Ginsburg guy is talking about me.
Man.
Again.
Oh, wow.
There's Twitter.
Right.
No, I need to. And I definitely need to before MacStock gets too much closer.
Yes, I am so excited you're coming.
Me too. I keep waiting for something to go wrong.
Well, I'm going to be there, so there you go.
Well, Jeff too, I guess.
Because I've only been to that one virtual one.
The in-person ones are a lot of fun. And Brittany, I'm really looking forward to getting to hang out in person.
I know all these friends I've made over the last few years that I've never met in person.
Right.
Wait, you guys exist outside of a computer?
No.
Not often, it turns out.
You're not there either, so you won't see that one.
So without any spoilers happening at all, Brittany, have you had a chance to watch the series finale of The Mandalorian? And if so, did you enjoy it?
I am 2 episodes behind because we were in Hawaii and just got back.
Oh, that's
very early Wednesday morning.
You were with Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is why I make sure that I do not do spoilers. I am looking forward to chatting with you after you finish the series so I can get your opinions.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I got social media covered here.
It's been weird because I have like a couple of podcasts just because I've been trying to not do informational podcasts in the evenings that talk about it with very, very different perspectives. And they keep popping into my feed. And I was like, you're just reminding me I haven't had time to watch it yet. Thanks.
I haven't either. So
You mean you don't want to hear that Grogu turns to the dark side and then kills Din?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
Oh, Ben.
I was about to say no one would ever do it in that short a period of time, but I don't
Dave
say
Filoni?
things
Yeah,
like
he
that.
did.
I was like, yeah, I don't want to put that past Dave Filoni.
And Ben, you know, if you're going to drop a spoiler, don't try and mislead people with it. Brittany, he didn't kill Din. He just dismembered him.
Right. But you have to lose a hand at some point. That's like a rite of passage.
In
It was
Star
left
Wars universe,
inconclusive.
All right. I sound good. I'm on the right mic. Make sure of that. Yes, I am. And I am so drooling over all the new Roadcaster stuff that came out too.
Holy crap! Right?
And the new
Right
pod
about
mic. Ugh.
Yeah. Between NAM and NAB,
Yeah,
I want to spend so much money.
me too. I shouldn't say complain. That thing's still been great for me. So
Ben, this is called karma.
yeah. Oh no, yeah, that credit card. All right.
I'm surprised Jeff isn't getting out and caressing his car now.
Mm. Did you get a warning every start recording? Didn't say anything.
Oh yeah.
I did.
Okay, I didn't hear it. All right, and last but not least, audio hijack. Looks good. And we're in
Yeah,
episode.
I got the notice that you're recording, which is why I didn't say anything about Ben and that totally weird Ewok fetish.
That's good. We're safe. All right, we're at episode 250.
Ooh, that's fun.
Nice even.
I mean,
number.
the Ewok fetish, it's totally fine. The only part that's creepy, is when Ben calls you late at night and goes, just say, yep.
Just give me a quick yub nub.
Yeah.
What I love is that they also say Utini at one point.
I think everyone says Utini in the Star Wars universe.
You're last.
All right, let's go.
Oh, well played.
Oh, you're so funny. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 250 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My guest this week, Brittany Smith, is back. How you doing, Brittany? So glad you're here.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming here right after you just got back from vacation, right?
Yeah, I did. It's been a whirlwind.
That's so awesome. We appreciate that you made the time to come out here. We really appreciate it. And Ben Rathick, he's here. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good. I've had a very nice. It is Thursday, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
We usually record here on Thursday. Yes, it is Thursday. Good, glad you're here. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet is here and in a under different disclosed location. How you doing, Jeff?
Yeah, turns out Witness Protection Program, they give you really nice places.
They do. Nice
That's
background.
great.
So glad you're all here this week. I pulled out some really great topics this week. The two topics I'll be standing out is we're going to talk again about, there's been a lot of press this week about stolen iPhones and losing access to your account and all that stuff. So I thought we would take the time beyond them going through all the crazy stuff of things that their iPhones being stolen and you're locked out for life. Maybe we can make some suggestions on how to protect yourself from that. Apple also did release the savings account. I signed up. I don't know if any of you guys did, but I'll be talking about that. And there's all kinds of other stuff that's in the news for this week. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And first story I've got this week is The HomePod is now able to alert you if smoke alarms are going off. The sound recognition feature that's built into the latest version of the HomePod and the HomePod Mini is now able to detect beeping of a smoke alarm, sending you an alert if there's an emergency situation. This was, of course, the new HomePod was announced back in January of 2023 this year, and the sound recognition option is available. And as of today, it can now detect both activated smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors, with sending a notification to your iPhone or your iPad or your Apple Watch, for that matter. So if you're at home, you're going to hear a smoke alarm go off, but you're away. It's very useful to ensure that you're alerted as soon as possible that you're aware that that went off. So that's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, the first generation of HomePod isn't going to work, but lucky me, I also have HomePod minis around the house, so that will work for me. So, Jeff, being the HomePod guru that you are, what do you think of this?
I think it's great. And anything that we can have that helps improve our health and safety at home or when we're away from home, so we know something's wrong, great. The fact that the OG HomePod doesn't support this, okay, that kind of sucks. And honestly, I didn't even realize that was a limitation at first, because I have a couple of HomePod minis. So everything's set up just fine for me. And actually, it wasn't even clear at first that my OG HomePod isn't part of this this game.
Yeah, they weren't very clear about it at first. So, what do you think, Brittany?
So I think I'm going to buy some more HomePod minis. That's probably a thing that's going to happen as a result of this. But I didn't hear about it to the document because I was on vacation. I missed a lot of stuff. Is there a thing you need to set up? I couldn't tell from the article.
If you go into the Home app, at the top of the app, there'll be a thing that that says you can set this up, and basically it's just tap and you're done.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty simple. So there's
yeah,
I
I change towns frequently. Knowing if a smoke detector went off at the other house, a real great thing to know. So
come in handy for you.
Yeah. And
we've got one at our lake house that's under my account, so I would get alerted if something happened there.
So I might be needing to look at my budget and seeing when I need to get HomePod minis or when they're on sale at Costco or something.
Or watch for an open box at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Are those good? Do those work still okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I've gotten some really good open box deals from Best Buy. I bought a trackpad from them, one of the Magic Trackpad 2s, and it showed up. The shrink wrap had never been opened on it. And it was like the corporate return where they bought too many because it was already provisioned for a specific business, and I had to reset it so that I could use it.
Oh, wow. That's right.
But you're nerds, you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nerds can do that.
So here's my confession. The last time I tried to do an open box thing like that wasn't like, Apple refurbished. I was a PC user and I got an open box PC that had been the display model. And that thing sure had to go right back because it didn't work at all.
I wouldn't do like for that. No.
Yeah. Ben, you got your HomePod set up ready for this?
Oh, yes. I mean, this is really nice if you don't have a HomeKit enabled smoke alarm.
But you're insanely expensive. And
yes. And the other thing that would be a really good use case for these, people who are hearing impaired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Yeah, they might not be able to hear the smoke alarm, but the HomePod will, and they'll get the alert.
I never thought about that. That's cool.
Well, good thinking. Okay, let's go on to the next story, and that a little bit of a rumor story here, but I thought it was interesting about this. Of course, it's always our source of Mark Gurman from Bloomberg. WatchOS 10 is described as Apple Watch's biggest software update since 2015. WatchOS 10 will be Apple Watch's biggest software update. since it was released, and Apple's expecting, of course, to announce this alongside iOS 17, Mac OS 14, and other software during WWDC in June. Garmin has said there's going to be a major update with bigger enhancements, including an updated interface, but didn't give any much of a detail. So I thought I'd mention this only because I'm excited to hear this, because the Apple Watch OS in itself has been kind of blah the last few years. Even I mean, when it first came out, we were all excited about it, but then a few of the other updates after that. But but the last few updates have been kind of blah, not really much to talk about. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm ready for a refresh to watchOS. At the same time, I am not a fan of this Gurman article. This is a giant bowl of vague soup.
Guess he doesn't have his sources in line that he feels comfortable to say anything other than what was mentioned.
And so I feel like this article from Gurman is not that useful. I mean, if you're going to give me insider information, give me some freaking information.
Meat.
Mm-hmm. And I guess part of the thing with this new interface is that it's not really new. It's just some things are fixed. So it's not going to be like this revolutionary new thing where we look at the Apple Watch interface and think, holy free holies, how did we get by without this?
Right, exactly. Brittany,
well, and there are so many.
You have that. Go ahead.
There's so many features I have been wanting to either adjust or exist, and long enough period of time that it's really just going to be a finally. Like you've had the option to automatically start tracking my workouts, something that Google had long before that, and more accurately. But you never tell me to unpause it if I pause it. Like, you'll tell me I'm done working out, but like if I pause it, there's no stroll mode. Like, so if I'm out doing a Pokemon event, I'm going to stop a lot. I get it. I should not be getting the same credit as a real walk, but like, let me have a stroll mode that like doesn't care that I've been stopped for a few minutes. It's the not offering to unpause the thing is the one that kills me all the time, because sometimes I'll finish a fairly intense workout and look down and go, oh, it's still paused from when I stopped to get a drink for a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. There's things like that. And I don't think anybody's ever felt like the interface or watch faces were satisfactory completely, except for people who don't think about it for very long, very, very casual users. But that would be great. But I don't know.
Any thoughts, Ben?
Just say it's the biggest one ever without saying what's in it. Yeah, I'm with you. That's sort of not.
I think it's time watchOS gets its iOS 7 moment. It's
okay.
That's fair. We are on the 8th generation of the Apple Watch. It's kind of due.
Yeah. I mean, we're at a point where the Apple Watch is more or less a very high-priced fitness tracker. I want to know if the screen has gotten large enough on these where it can be more than that, where it can start to be what it was originally intended to be.
Yeah. We'll see. Like you said, this is usually I try to not talk too much about rumor, but I thought it was interesting just to get kind of a tease.
You just knew you could trigger us.
No, I don't want to. I want a little bit of a tease, because I'm been so anxious to get some new stuff on watchOS. But we'll see what happens. We got a little under 2 months, so we'll see what happens here. Next story here. More stores are starting to finally accept Apple Pay. Kroger, which is one of the bigger grocery chains around the U.S., is accepting Apple Pay and other contactless payment methods at their select locations in Kentucky and Ohio for now. This allowing customers to tap with an iPhone or Apple Watch at the checkout. All I can say is hallelujah. If they get it expanded, they can do it to all 1,200 grocery stores that operate under their namesake Kroger brand. Kroger was one of the largest Apple Pay holdouts in the U.S. since it launched in 2014. Boy, that's going back almost 10 years now. Alongside Walmart, the Home Depot, Lowe's, Kroger did roll out the Apple Pay at some of its grocery chains in the past few years, including Ralph's in California and others. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I hope to see them expand it out. There's a few stores that are here in the Chicago area that are owned by Kroger as well. So I would hope that they roll it out, because it always drives me crazy to go to a grocery store and then, crap, I can't pay with my Apple Watch. Got to pull out that card. I don't want to do that. Like when I walked up to a gas pump, I drove up to a gas pump, and Freudian slip there, and then big sign says Apple Pay. I was like, oh, that's great, awesome, because a lot of the gas pumps don't have very good readers when they're going to work with the Apple Watch sometimes. So, what do you think, Ben?
For Kroger is one of the largest grocers in the country.
Yep.
So this is a very, very good step. I mean, other than that, Walmart, you're up.
Yeah. Walmart's too busy closing stores that are underperforming but making lots of money. So that's a whole other story. What do you think, Brittany?
I don't really use them, but
No?
yeah.
Get on
board. Get on
in the
board.
You like using them in the grocery
Yes.
stores, all right? Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys have them.
I don't know if you knew this, but I have indoor plumbing and wear pants that don't usually have big pockets. So anytime I can not have a wallet on me, it's pretty great.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Jeff? Oh, but you have pants. You don't have pants on, though.
No.
He
And
probably does at the store.
Well, I mean,
You never
since
know.
the court order, yeah. So here's my take on this.
I was
go
going to
ahead.
go off on a terrible tangent and I caught myself.
No, I'm ready. Bring it on. And then I'll give you my take on the Kroger thing.
My husband's dad, when he was a teenager, called what he wears every day, which is still what he wears every day, which is shorts and a t-shirt, his Beavis suit. Like making a Beavis and Butthead reference, because this is how long ago that was. And so we still call it his Beavis suit. So my question was, is what you wear to the grocery store a Beavis suit?
No, I mix it up. Sometimes it's a Butthead suit.
Okay. Okay, cool.
That was cool.
And you know what? Screw Kroger. Screw Kroger. Okay, here's the deal. One of the largest grocery chains in the United States, if not the largest grocery chain in the United States. And for years, they've been saying, oh, we can't support Apple Pay, the cost to change out our POS system, blah, 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 blah. Screw you, Kroger. Right up your fast checkout lane. Screw you. You could have done this years ago. This is not something to be praised for.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
kinda
at this
meh.
point, it might actually be costing them more money to not have an NFC support the POS system.
Right?
It
Yeah.
really does. So, all right, let's move on to the next
Well, I
story
mean,
before we go.
The
Go ahead, I'll let you last
changeover
one.
where they the credit card companies were like, yeah, so if you don't have this, we're going to charge you way more for your credit card processing, was like 8 years
20
ago
years
or
ago?
something. It feels like 10, but it means it was but it was definitely pre-pandemic. So 8 is my guess. Like, yeah, it was a very long time ago. And I don't know why you didn't change it.
Yeah, screw Kroger.
Yeah. All right. This is kind of exciting because I got to try it. Apple's TV multi-view sports feature is now going to be available starting with tvOS beta 16.5. Apple's rumored multi-view sports feature will be available. It was available for when this article was written, about the 14th of April for the MLB's Friday night baseball games. And then it was also available for tomorrow on the MLS season pass matches as well. This is an expansion of the picture-in-picture screen mode, so it allows the multi-view features to screen up to 4 games simultaneously. You know, just like you're wanting to really watch all this stuff, and only for those who are sports fans probably would like this. But I hope to see that they expand this further into other things. Maybe you want to watch 4 movies. I would like to see, maybe you could watch 4 Star Wars movies all in one in 4 boxes. You know, that would be kind of cool. But
Hey.
I was thinking of that. So, but I did try it, and I'll have a picture I took of the screen in the show notes, because of course, me being the nerd I am, I have lots of extra Apple TVs at my disposal that I don't have any problems putting beta on it. So I decided to put it on one. Here I have, and it's really cool. I mean, it really brought up the all 4 games are going on simultaneously. And again, I'm not a huge MLS fan for that. That's soccer or football if you're in the UK. But the picture quality was amazing on all 4 screens, and then it was kind of neat to be able to watch all 4 of them. Don't you think, Ben?
Oh yeah. This basically turns your large screen TV into an instant sports bar.
Exactly.
I'm hoping this is something they are going to expand upon in the keynote at WWDC and expand to other apps, because this could be the killer feature for Apple TV.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like I said, we're going to probably put some Star Wars movies on for you. But I don't know. Do you think you like this?
So it, like, as the brain scientist, I have to say, like, I'm not sure if and also a former filmmaker, I'm not sure if a narrative format is the best thing, but I could see other options. Like, if somebody's trying to learn a drawing technique, you could watch it in multiple screens and like, oh, okay, I can see that angle or this angle. So I could see other uses that would be really valuable, but probably not in narrative form. That doesn't mean they shouldn't bring it and make it an option. Sure, why not? But I certainly tend to, strive to do my media single tasking. I do not always succeed, but I don't need somebody to enable it.
Yeah.
But for sports, it completely makes sense. Like, my
of
dad's
course.
interested in a golf game and a basketball game at the same time. Go nuts.
Yeah. That's even better. Different sports. So,
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Jeff?
They seem more likely to be in competition.
Yeah. So the big thing I'm hearing out of this is party at Ben's house.
Yes.
Right.
Or even my house. for
I
that
do
matter.
have MLB.TV.
Well, there we
I
go.
I do as well. Thank you, T-Mobile.
Okay, party at Dave's house. So from an academic standpoint, the idea of being able to do something like watch Seven Samurai, The Magnificent Seven, The Magnificent Seven remake, and Star Wars all at the same time, because it's basically the same movie.
Hey, movie.
Now,
Then you could compare like their pacing and stuff.
right. Yeah.
Or
I could totally see doing that, but not all the time.
or you could compare the perfect script ever written that is used in many screenwriting classes to like other movies of similar length and see if they hold up.
Oh yeah.
It's Back to the Future, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All
See, so Brittany, there's a
You're
valid
you're
academic
giving me
use.
more ideas. You're giving me more ideas.
I'm here to enable.
Yes. He is good at that. So the next, I have actually 3 stories in here. I'm going to kind of combine them as one and just kind of hit each of them. All I have to say is Netflix and password sharing crackdown. It's coming. They're gonna be enforcing this soon. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Are we at all surprised this is happening? Probably not, because
No.
Netflix has been losing money for a long time. So that's going to happen, as well as I didn't even know that Netflix was still in the DVD business. That is ending. That is ending the end of this, towards the end of this year in the fall. They're going to stop shipping. September 29th of 2023. 25 years they've been doing that, and I was shocked at that. I had thought they'd ended it years ago.
And apparently it actually is problematic because streaming deals don't apply to DVDs. So Netflix had access to movies that maybe nobody has done a streaming deal with currently. So you can't get it through streaming. And so there's apparently actually people upset, but I also did not know.
Well, I think go to Redbox because
Thanks.
Redbox is still selling them at their kiosks at every store
But
corner.
that's a very limited selection
Yeah, Redbox has gotten a little more
for
limited.
Redbox.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm yeah, I was kind of surprised that I didn't even. I mean, I remember I was surprised years ago. I was getting those DVDs.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
burning a few
Yeah.
of them too. But yeah, it's gone. It's going to be gone. So then the third thing was their ad supported tier. They're going to enhance it up to 1080p for the same cost, which I think was pretty cool. They're going to do that, so it is ad supported. So three things that Netflix have
Apparently, the
decided to-
ad supported is making more revenue per customer than the
yeah, they've
tier, which
finally
is
found something.
interesting.
Says a lot about ad revenue.
Yeah.
So my family definitely uses a shared Netflix account across multiple households. Like my parents got, and they're like, "Hey, any of our kids can use it, not anybody." I use Netflix like once in a blue moon. So, in fact, I think my sister's family is probably the only people who still use it. So, what's probably going to happen is they're going to make the exact same revenue from our family.
Yeah.
Because I think my sister's family is the only one who uses it. So, for some people, it will backfire. I don't know how it will be in the US compared to other places. I just know my family.
Hard to say. But that's the way it goes. I mean, they can try to crack it down somehow.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe they
I
should
mean,
have been
I'm-
promoting the idea of sharing passwords, which was a big thing that Netflix was totally cool with for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, between that and the huge price increases Netflix has had over the last few years, I've drifted away from them quite a bit. And even though T-Mobile is picking up my bill, I found it very hard to come back.
Yeah. Well, thing is, I do get more or less free Netflix because of T-Mobile. So
Yeah.
But I pay a little extra so I can have HD. So
Mhm.
so it's not costing me a ton. So let's go into the last story here. Apple has launched an all-new Apple trade-in website just in time for Earth Day. Apple has put in an increasingly big focus on trade-ins over the last several years, encouraging users to trade in their old iPhones for instant credit for a new device. They have now launched a new Apple trade-in website with a new design, more details about the trade-in process, and more. Like I said, it just came in time for Earth Day, for trying to be the benefits of saving the environment by trading in these old devices. And the Apple website, if you go out, we have a link in the show notes here to the actual site. It does encourage trade-ins, and it gives you all the numbers and find your trade-in value. So you go right on the site. It's super easy. There's a link right there. You just type in whichever type of phone you have, and they'll take any phone actually. And if you don't get any money for it, they'll actually they'll recycle it for you. So like I have a 10R. I like to see what the cost is latest on that. Look at $125 for a 10R, which you think about that, it's not too terribly bad. I think some places will giving back a lot less, and they'll do iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, Macs, even list Android. So I'd be curious to see. Yeah, they're giving money back on the Androids, like Samsung's S22, and that's a little new, and Pixel 6 Pro. So what do you think, Jeff? I think they've really done a good job of really enhancing this site more so than ever.
Well, I like that it makes it much easier to know upfront what you're likely to get for a trade-in.
Yeah.
And so good. Unlike me sitting here saying, screw Kroger. Okay, good on Apple for making this easier for people to do.
I mean, you can go back and compare it to some of the other sites. You don't hear too much about Gazelle lately. That was the biggest trade-in sites that were around for years. I don't even know if they still exist. I have to go to their site, but they probably still do. It's good for the environment. Brittany, would you trade in a phone if you had to?
I mean, I wouldn't trade in a phone.
You keep
but
them all.
I mean, yes.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, if I did not know how else to appropriately dispose of a phone, then I would use it. But yeah, I have phones that sit around here running software that doesn't run on my current iPhone that I use every day. And I have them like it's parts of my video production. So I don't get rid of them, but yeah. If I wanted to know where to dispose one safely and securely, I probably would give it to them. Like maybe my 4 that might be ready.
Yeah, that would just be a recycle. I don't think you get anything.
No, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to trade in, but I would use their trade in recycle for if I don't want to hand it over to some rando.
Right.
Yeah, the random might actually
like
pay some
securely
collector.
recycle it. Use as much as you can, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to be selling the information you find on it, so I don't have to like do a lot of digging to wipe it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's cavalier, but that's the situation I'll use it.
Any final thoughts on this, Ben?
I have used these services.
Me too.
Why it's nice they're making it a better website. Personally, I don't care what the website looks like as long as I get the best deal back in my favor.
Well, it's easier to get to because it was always challenging to find the place. So it embedded it with the order. If you had to order the iPhone first and then say, oh, do you have a trade-in? So at least now you can go to a site directly and just find out right away what is it worth, and then start looking through the process if you want to use that as part of the credit towards the trade. And the nice thing too is when you do buy an iPhone and you do trade in the phone and you put it on the payment plan for your Apple Card, they give you the credit immediately, even before you trade it in. Obviously, they'll take it away if they find that it wasn't what you said it was, but I've done that before, and that's a pretty good deal. So good for you, Apple. Glad you're doing those things and keeping the environment clean with not all this in the landfills here. So, all right, let's move on to the topics for this week. Just going to briefly talk about beta this week. iOS 16.5 beta 2 is still out. It's been about a week. Brittany, I know you're running all the betas on your devices.
Just the phone. Just the phone.
Okay, just the phone.
Yeah, only the phone.
How's it been for you?
Fine. I mean, I think it is running a little hot and a little bit more battery drain, but I don't know if that's the beta or not, because from about a month before they announced Dub until like the week or two after, stuff gets buggy and weird, and you don't have to be on a beta to experience it. Before one of the iOS announced release dates, I said I could feel the bugs. The release is coming soon of the Golden Master because I can feel the bugs in my phone, and it was the next day. Like you can see these things coming because they're playing with the architecture, and it doesn't unaffect so I don't know if it's the beta or not. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, and Ben, you're back running betas on your devices, right?
Oh yes, yeah, I'm the idiot. I mean, so far it's been pretty good for a beta.
Yeah.
I haven't had any real problems with it.
Yep, I run it on my 10R that I use as my webcam, and then my 2018 iPad Pro 12.9, and no problems that I've noticed. Jeff, you run it on your iPad. How's it been working on yours?
It's running mostly fine. I've noticed with this beta, I'm getting some random application crashes that I wasn't getting before. Also, Ben, you're not an idiot. You just rush in where angels fear to tread.
I openly say I'm an idiot. And if anybody wants to do what I do and run purely software on all my devices, let me tell you this: I have had issues. I have had data loss. Do as I say, not as I do.
Don't do it.
And it's okay when you know that that's the risk.
Yeah.
And you're prepared
and
for
are
it.
trying it.
You're
Despite the fact that my iPhone is my most used device and it's not even close, that's the one that gets the beta because that is not the one that I make my money from. It's the computer and the iPad that I can't do my normal job without. And so phone,
Yeah.
but it's the one that is all the notifications and stuff. So that's what I'm always testing.
Okay, and that's it for beta this week. We'll see. Hopefully, Apple will have another version coming out soon because we already talked about it last week. It's in code that 16.6 is going to come shortly thereafter, and then it'll probably be the final version before we hit dub in June. So, so there was a lot of press this week about theft tactics. We talked about this a number of weeks ago. It was Joanna Stern from the Wall Street Journal, does great stuff about technology, and she interviewed somebody in the first on the first video. The lady lost her access to her phone. It was like a reverse engine, social engineering at a bar. Saw her PIN, and we know the story. We talked about it. It's just been all kinds of thefts that have been occurring, and that was just a notable one. There was another one that was also talked about this week, and during their another video talking about the same person. This person was like begging Apple to let him get his photos back. I'm willing to give you a DNA test and a blood test and pay you $10,000 and donate it to charity. And Apple said no. They're sticking to their guns, and that's the policy. And the same thing happened. They got into his phone, saw his PIN, and reset his recovery code. Reset his password on his Apple ID, and that's the end of it. I mean, he was hacked out of it. So, it just is the big thing about this is the fact that they're draining money from people's bank accounts and remote, and then turning it around, they're going to try to sell the phone, probably in third world countries because they're not going to be able to sell it here. So really, what's the really story on this? I think the real story is here, and then the moral of the story is people just don't want to take the time to think about backups. iCloud is a safe and easy way to back up all your photos and all your settings and everything that's on your iPhone, but you really should have an alternate backup, and people don't think about that because they don't want to spend the time to do it. And we're going to go over some of those. I know Brittany has a thought, I see.
Apple doesn't encourage this. They say, we
Right.
got you. This thing that is only on your account, you can only access if you have access to your iCloud account. They're the ones saying, we got you. You are backed up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
Yeah.
some of the other ones require that you do stuff that Apple's not a fan of in order to do a backup that is more inclusive. And it's
okay.
when the company's giving you the message, we got you, and then saying, but we didn't really have you. Right. I have
not our fault.
I have concerns.
Yes. People go into the Genius Bar and say, I need help backing up my iPhone, my iPad, whatever. Mm-hmm. And the Genius Bar turns on iCloud and says, okay, you're set. And that's it. Mm-hmm. That's bad.
Yeah. Sorry. I know I'm derailing from the tips, but I like that story was sad.
No, that's the whole part of this topic is just the story itself, and then I wanted to hit some of the ways that you should be protecting yourself and the basics. You got the recovery key. They're going to ask you to set that recovery key. Set it. I mean, you should have it set. Look after your phone and your passcode. Use a little harder to figure out passcode. Use an alphanumeric passcode if anything, because that's going to mix it up. It'll make things safe. Of course, use Face ID. The basics. We know the basics of the security, but the problem is with social engineering. You're at a bar and people are seeing you type in that passcode. They're going to watch it. They may even record you and you don't even know it because they have a smartphone. They can record what you're doing. They'll see the PIN and then we'll see. Let's go around and they'll steal your phone and then that's the end of it. They're clearing out your bank account and locking out of your Apple account. So look after it. But as I said, those are some of the basics. The other suggestion is which I find to be very interesting, is the use of screen time. I never really thought of this before, but I think this is another added layer that you can do by enabling screen time. And what you do in the settings, you go to screen time and scroll down to set a passcode. If you haven't done this already, you should just go into there. Then it's under content and privacy restrictions. then you toggle on the content and privacy restrictions, and then scroll down to allow changes, and then tap on the account changes, and then you select don't allow. So they can't, so unless they have that secondary pin from screen time, they will not be able to make any changes. So you've really backed up that pin. So if they saw your first pin, they aren't going to get to it with the second pin. Of course, you got to need to ensure that your screen passcode is different from your phone code. Don't be dumb and use the same one. And that also includes generating a recovery key. I put a link in the show notes as far as how to generate that recovery key through Apple support. Also, another way of protecting yourself, add a recovery contact. They've got that set up now, so you can set up an account as a recovery contact. Like, I mean, in my case, I would set up my wife as my recovery contact, because if she were to ever have to get into the phone and didn't have the passcode, she would be set as a recovery contact, and then Apple will help her get into that as well. So those are just some of the simple things that you can do that Apple already provides that we take for granted and don't usually bother, especially in the screen time. Most people think of screen time like, oh God, I don't want to know how much time I'm spending on with screen time. But also sometimes it is a good thing to really have a good idea. Oh my God, I've spent 15 hours on my iPhone today. That's a lot of hours. But I think at least implementing that piece of it as an added bonus of security is not a bad idea. Now, backing up, that's a whole nother story. And yeah, like we just talked about, Apple says that, we don't recommend any of that stuff. You're set. iCloud is the way to do it. You're backed up. You're great. But look at these examples of many stories of people getting locked out. So there's a number of ways I've put in the show notes to talk about here. And the first one I would highly recommend, and I know all of us here on this panel recommend it, is using iMazing. iMazing is an amazing product. It really is an amazing product, because not only does it back up all of your photos and everything else, but it backs up the whole phone. I mean, it goes so granular. You can go, for us geeks, we can go in and really get into the core of the programming and get into things. It's got all your messages backed up, so you can export messages. That comes in handy too. A lot of times if you have to print out messages and maybe you have a lawsuit, you need to have some of your iMessages between somebody. You can easily get it from a backup from iMazing. So basically think of iMazing as absolute complete backup. And then got a link in the show notes to where that is. And it's not terribly expensive. I believe now it's now a subscription if you were to buy a new license. Most of us have the old standalone license like I do. That it's good for a good long time. They haven't made me at least buy another version of it. So it's like version 2. So definitely check that out. I think it's
Dave,
yeah. Go ahead.
Even the free version will still give you a much better backup.
That's true.
Than you'd be getting otherwise.
Yeah, so they do provide a free version as well. I forgot. Thank you. They have a free version or a paid version, which is a subscription, but
it's worth the price of the paid.
It's version. Well worth it. Well worth it. Here are some other alternatives as far as backups go. Use other cloud services. Now, Dropbox has the capabilities. If you have the ability, not only do you use that, but before I get to that, I also got to remind everybody you can do an iPhone backup using Finder, also known as it used to be done in iTunes, to back up your iPhone. And the only drawback to that part is if you're backing up all your photos in iCloud, you can't do this because you have to turn off iCloud in order to back up using Finder. So that kind of is a pointless thing to do if you want to continue to use iCloud as your ways of backing up all your photos. But you also have another service like Dropbox. Dropbox will allow you to back up your iPhone on your Mac, as well as Dropbox has their own iOS app that allows you to be able to back up all your photos direct to Dropbox onto Dropbox's cloud service. Of course, you have to pay for that. You're only going to get so much storage. I think something like $10 a month if you want to get 1 terabyte of space, which is a pretty good amount to back up. But there's another alternative. You could have multiple cloud services that are backing your photos up, and you can go back to any one of these. OneDrive is another one. A lot of people are not too overly excited using a Microsoft product, but I think OneDrive actually works very well on iOS. You can set it up in the iOS app and it automatically will back up all your photos. And that's what everybody is so worried about, is their photos, losing all your memories, all the great photos you've taken of your family. Make sure that you do that. And I put a link in the show notes for an articles from Microsoft support on how to set up saving all your photos and videos with OneDrive for iOS. I have a Microsoft 365 account, which includes 1 terabyte of storage for me on OneDrive. So why not set it up that way? And then, of course, the other one is Google, Google Drive, or they also call it the Google One program. If you're a subscriber to that, you can back up your device using Google One and backing up your photos as well as everything else on the Google Drive. That gives you another option to do your backup. So I've given you 4 or 5 different ways of doing alternate backups. There's absolutely no excuse. Some of these cloud services that I mentioned are done automatically. So that's the big thing. People hate having to do this manually. Now, iMazing has done a better job of being able to automate their process of backing up. You can be on Wi-Fi if you want to, or you can plug it in direct. Usually plugging it direct is better because it's a little bit faster when it backs it up. But at least get yourself a backup and you go into a routine, set it up. But if you don't want to do that, go to one of these other alternate cloud-based services, pay for it. It's going to be well worth the money that you're paying for one of these cloud services versus, like this guy in the article says he's willing to pay $10,000 to Apple to free up his data in there. So I think it's something that's really a good idea. So did you guys have anything else to add that I might have missed that as far as a backup regiment or to protect yourself with this?
I mean, I will say this, as someone who worked at a major retailer doing customer facing tech supports. Unfortunately, this is something that I saw quite frequently where people were not responsible with their data. They came to us, said, well, let me give us access back to this. And I had to say, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Thoughts, Jeff?
I'm using bless you, Brittany. I'm using a mixed system for making sure my iOS device data is backed up. So I am using iCloud Backup, which is great. Like if you have to take your iPhone into the store and they have to wipe it, I can just restore from that. But I'm also using iMazing, which is storing my backup locally, which then just becomes, as far as my broader backup system goes, just another file. So once iMazing is done its backup, then I have everything backing up to a Synology and Backblaze. And anyhow, I have a ton of backups happening.
Sure.
So as you should.
So don't rely on a single backup source to protect your precious data.
You know, there's an old saying: if you're not if you don't have multiple avenues for backup, you're not backed up.
Yep. Cannot agree with that more. Brittany, do you have any backup regiments that we've all talked about here?
Yeah, so I've only been using iCloud for a really long time. I have used iMazing in the past and I love it, but I have to remember to connect my phone to my computer. Right. And that's not a thing I remember to do regularly.
That's a problem.
Yeah. I had not considered some of the cloud options before, which might be an idea. And one of the things that I've used iMazing for the most in the past was doing unencrypted backups, because when you do that, you can pull files out of some of the apps, or at least you could before. Yep. And so that was one of the ways I would deal with sometimes apps just losing all my data, which was a thing that used to happen a lot more than it happens now. And so there's advantages of both encrypted and unencrypted, but I've definitely gotten out of the habit. I'm not sure if it's installed on this computer.
Okay. Well, take a look at all the links we put in the show notes about backups, and hope that was helpful for those who concerned about this because, as I said, this is the second story that the Wall Street Journal has put together in the last few months here. So it's obviously a big problem. And we never even touched about Apple's response to this, and it was always a canned response. We're well aware of it, and we take security seriously, but we have to follow our policies. Pretty much, I'm summing it up, but you could read the exact. Every time, both articles in both sentences, they said exactly the same thing. And I guess good for Apple to stick to their guns when it comes to security and not just let anybody call and be able to give you access to an account. But it's unfortunate.
Well, Dave, I think there's an added layer in this, which is that if Apple says, "Yeah, we'll help Ben get back all of this data," they're setting a precedent.
Exactly.
And then the next thing that happens is a government agency, law enforcement agency,
right,
says, "Hey, we need access to that data." And Apple says, "We can't do it." And then they say, "Yeah, but you did it for Ben."
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm special.
You are special.
Yes, I would like them to put something in place for this security vulnerability. However, like
This is
that,
different. This
I
is
don't know
slightly
what that
different,
looks
yeah.
like, but a response to it would be awesome.
Yeah, I think they think they have they are giving this some thought because they're getting a lot of press on it. So
your passcode can't. Your usually 4 to 6 digit passcode can't be the keys to the kingdom,
right,
for everything. And
Yeah.
right now it is.
Yeah, and one of the past Mac users were typically more savvy than the average user. The average iPhone user is the average user.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So great stuff. This was great. So next topic I wanted to hit on this week is the Apple savings account. It was kind of a cool thing Apple did on April 17th, as we record this, did release a new high yield savings account. It's at a 4.15% annual percentage rate. And that's pretty good, about 10 times the national average. No minimum deposits, no minimum balance requirements. The user can easily set it up directly in the Apple Card wallet. Couple of the caveats: you have to have an Apple Card right now in order to use this account. So if you don't have an Apple Card, then this isn't going to apply for you. What it does is it actually, all the money that you make, and it goes into normally would go into your Apple Cash Card. All the 2% and 3% rebates you get on every purchase through your Apple Card would just go into that Apple Cash Card, and the money would just sit there and you make nothing. And some people like to save. I think some people were smart; they would save it for a long period of time and not necessarily use it to pay the bill. But then have a nice little nest egg. But now, what you can do is you can set it up, and it automatically sets up in the Apple Savings account once you enable it, and that money will automatically transfer into the bank account. You also have connections to all your external bank accounts. Like I've got a couple checking accounts that was already set up, so I was able to transfer some money, not only from what I had saved in the Apple Cash account, but I transferred some more savings that I had in one of my couple of my bank accounts. So put that in there as well. So you've got that option. As far as setting up goes, absolutely the easiest thing in the world to do here was being able to set it up. Just going into the Apple Wallet and had a couple taps, asks for your social security number, which makes sense because you're making interest. They got to give the IRS that information. Within about, I think I probably had the account open within 1 to 2 minutes, and it was open. So
that was
deposited
just
the money
in the part that has your credit card.
Yes, it's in the wallet app. I'm trying to look where I put my iPhone here, because I'm not finding it. But so it automatically is put in the Apple Wallet, the wallet app, right? And it's automatically set up, and away you go. It gives you the same routing number and a bank account number, just like any other bank. So if you wanted to set up external transfers, as long as the account's open and it's already linked, ready to go, you could do that. I tried it, but it didn't work because I wanted to set up maybe an automatic transfer of funds from my checking account to the Apple savings account. But because I think the bank account is so new, I'm gonna try it in a couple days here to see if it'll work once the because the account just opened about 3 or 4 days ago. I mean, for everybody. So, I think this is I think this is a cool thing. I don't know if any of you have opened one up besides me just yet, but
No, I want to do it right now.
Yeah, I hadn't done it yet because I just got busy. So I'm here looking now, and I'm like, where?
yeah, that's the only bad thing.
There's
All right.
there's no obvious place for turning.
I'm gonna ring my iPhone because I don't know where I put it. So hold on.
Yes, Dave, give us your account numbers.
I want my account numbers. So you have to go into the actual wallet app, and there's a setting here. Hold on, I don't know where I do it.
So I'm in the wallet app. Oops, nope.
Me
That's on
too.
orders.
Why is my card green? Does your card dynamically change colors?
Yeah, it depends
Based
on
on
what your balance is.
Oh, and I just paid it today in anticipation of a big purchase tomorrow. So
there you go. Yeah.
okay, that's why it's green.
I'm pink. I owe $89.78 on my Apple Card right now. So I'm pink.
$89 got it to pink. What color was mine before I paid it? Jeez.
Where you go, Jeff, is you go up into the you got the four dots, the 3-dot button at the top right, and you go to card details, and I believe it's in there.
Card details.
Card details.
Of course, I can't. It was in there.
I can add people.
I thought it was in there. Bank accounts. All right,
This is riveting podcasting right here.
Right?
It really is riveting.
Sorry.
So we'll put that in the show notes. We have to keep people from us trying to find
let me know
this.
how to do something that should be obvious.
I probably should have had this done ahead of time here.
Oh, I'm sure it's very simple once you get to the right setting.
I remember doing it, but
it's very validating for me that Jeff also was not finding.
Yeah, welcome to the inside baseball of the experts. We don't know everything.
Okay,
we just figure it out off camera.
If 4 of us are sitting here, one of us who's already set it up, and we're looking at our iPhones going, can't find it.
Right?
That's a bad interface. That's a bad user experience.
Here's this. I agree. Oh, here we go. I probably should single out the support article, and so that's in there as well. So how you set up the savings? You go into the wallet app, like I was in the right place, and tap the Apple Card. Under the more button, the 3 dots, you go to tap daily cash. That was it.
Oh,
wow.
Of course, because that just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Y'all,
there it is.
I have $800 sitting in my Apple Cash. I cannot wait to start getting 4%.
Yeah. So you got to get this bad boy open.
It's just been sitting here because I never connected a bank account to Apple Cash. So I was like, well, then I can pay somebody when I owe them money.
Yeah, through Apple Cash. So yeah, I had about the same amount. $857 is in my account now.
But most of the work is finding the button, and once you find the button, it's super easy.
Yeah, it would help if I had the support article right there at our fingertips. Thank you, everybody, for kind of putting up with us. But we got the answer for you.
Yeah.
So
it makes it real
right now.
I'm agreeing to the conditions. Also, my HomePod's already updated, so it can alert me. This has been very productive. Thank you all.
Yeah, and it makes it real easy to leave it all there because you forget how to access your own money.
It's not even there. Yeah, you don't even touch it. Well, speaking of the Apple Card, I did put an article in here because 9 to 5 Mac just wrote up another article here this week. But is the Apple Card worth it? And I think all of us will probably say a very enthusiastic yes. And one of the great things is that you can manage the card right from the app, from the wallet, which I really like. We always, of course, love that titanium designed card. I always like dropping it on the table and it goes clang, clang, clang. No late fees, no overdraft fees, no foreign transaction fees. It's backed up by Goldman Sachs for Apple. Payments are always due at the end of the month, which is awesome. And they will do a soft credit check. So you actually can see if you qualify for the card even before they do a full credit check to tell you if you would qualify for the card, which is great. So and it does have another a great set of rewards, 3% cash back of everything in the Apple Store and Apple's website and all digital purchases, anything related with using a purchase to Apple, you get 3% cash back. 2% cash back on any time you use Apple Pay, which is great. Then 1% on everything else. But some of the retailers that are giving 3% right now is including Ace Hardware, Exxon, Nike, T-Mobile. So I have my T-Mobile bill paid through my Apple Card every month. I get 3% back on that. And Walgreens and Duane Reade both take 3% cash back. So if you have those the pharmacies, Uber Eats as well as Uber, Exxon and Mobil are covered at 3% as well. So if you get gas there as well. And then the other great thing is the financing, the monthly installments. You can buy an iPhone and you can pay for it across 24 months, interest free. It just, you don't even feel it. It's automatically paid every month out of the Apple Card. A Mac and iPad are only 12 months. The Apple Watch is 24 months, which is crazy, especially it's only usually like a $400 or $500 cost. But then your AirPods 6 months, Apple TV 4K 6 months. And like I said earlier about the trade-in, if you trade in an iPhone for a new iPhone, that value is instantly deducted from the purchase price. So you didn't have to think about it. So, and you'll get 3% cash back on the purchase of the phone as well. Right up to, you'll get that up front, even though you're financing it for the 2 years. So a lot of great benefits. The cash card, like we talked about, I can't see why this is a no-brainer not to take a look at this Apple Card. And all of us have it, so we definitely can say that we've had a good experience with it. So, those guys, any other thoughts on this?
I just set up my savings account. Oh, I'm not Brittany. I'm sorry.
Okay. I actually didn't hear that either, so you're cool. No, I use it a lot because it's the only thing that will just guarantee give me 2% back when I use Apple Pay. Yeah, exactly. And so that's just like the ones where they change merchants and stuff. I'm never going to keep track of that. But like, oh, it's just all the time. It has made my business finances very complicated, but that was going to happen anyway. Because I'm going to buy my Apple products with it. And they don't have a business card. But I'll tell you the coolest thing is you can add a person to it and it starts building their credit. Mm-hmm. I have an adult in my life who's a very trustworthy person and had never had any credit ever of any kind, a 0 credit score if we bothered to run it. And so that is somebody who just buys things occasionally when they're things I would pay for anyway. Mm-hmm. And is actually building credit for the first time. And it took 2 seconds to set up. The button was easy to find and it was so fast. And now he's got a piece of titanium, which is cool. Like it's just like some of those things are really convenient and really cool. Also, I can pay it off the same day and go spend the full balance, like the full credit limit.
Yeah, you can pay whenever you want.
Which has come in handy when I've had some weird, bizarrely like, hey, can you just put $4,000 on your credit card right now? And I could do it because I could pay the whole balance and then use the card instantly. And that's not usually true. So I kind of love it, actually.
Easy to pay. I mean, it's about the most convenient card you could ever have. So that's all of our chats this week for banking, and Apple is really getting deep into the financial world, which is great, and giving us some options. They got the great savings account, and we already knew we've had a great thing with the Apple Card. So, couple more things we want to talk about. We had two apps, and I know Jeff's going to love this topic because Luma Fusion just released a huge update this week. It is a pro-level multicam editing feature for the iPhone and the iPad. Luma Fusion, I mean, you know what, Jeff? I'm just going to let you tell up everybody because I know you're the huge user of Luma Fusion. I might as well just, why am I going on reading through this one? You could just do it off the cuff because you are a huge user of Luma Fusion. I want to know what you think about this new feature, these new features they've released.
Well, first, as soon as I did the update and then saw the press release saying, and now it has the multi-camera editing support for only $19. I just went in the app and tapped buy, Even though I don't need it today, it's a feature that I will use. It's
Mhm.
worth the $19. And yeah, it's okay. So if you're doing video editing and you want that to be a professional level tool, but on an iPad, the answer is LumaFusion. And it's so good that I stopped doing video editing on my Mac because I'm using LumaFusion on my iPad Pro.
Now you can install LumaFusion on an Apple processor Mac.
Yes, it
Good.
will run on an M series Mac. Mhm. And
Do you
yeah,
want to?
it's-
That's another question.
well, I mean,
I don't know.
I haven't done it, but I've talked to people who have, and they said it works great, but it feels a little bit wonky because you're using a Mac interface system to interact with an application that was designed for an iOS, iPadOS touch interface system. So sometimes it just feels a little weird and doesn't work quite as smoothly when you're doing something as it would if you're just doing straight up touch interface.
And that kind of leads me to another question here. In the Apple Silicon Mac world, and the fact that I haven't used LumaFusion myself, but I'm guessing they have reworked it a bit to work with keyboard and mouse on the iPad.
Mhm.
Why haven't they just rolled out official Mac support? Because I think this would sell like gangbusters.
Yeah, I don't know. But I agree. I mean, crap. It is, I don't even remember what I paid for it, but whatever it was, I was like, seriously, is this a typo? Is it like a one-time deal? Because it was like, what, $30, $40 for this professional level video editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Pixelmator of video.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I just purchased the multicam, and it's a one-time charge. I mean, that's the other thing you can't beat with Luma Fusion. No subscription. I mean,
They do have some add-ons that are subscription.
the add-ons, right? You have some of the you have the Final Cut Pro export.
Mhm.
That's $20. The story blocks, that's the one that's a subscription. Do you use that?
No.
Yeah. So
And I don't
So are
need
they
to go
things that
through
require
Final
like
Cut, so
server use that are subscriptions, or what's the difference?
the subscription unlocks the features. That's all.
but there's so many features in this tool that you can't beat it. So that's pretty exciting. I'd like to hear once you do a project, Jeff, you can report back to us on how the multicam
I will
support.
let you know.
We'd love to hear about it.
Brittany, something that might matter to you with LumaFusion. You can store your project files on an external drive, and you can work with them from the external drive. You don't have to move them onto the iPad first.
Oh, okay. I find the idea of editing without a mouse and keyboard distinctly uncomfortable. But I also started editing at in very formative years. So I only ever tried to edit one thing and it never had a time crunch, so I never had to finish it. And I didn't. So I don't, it wasn't a very fair test, but I do have it on multiple devices.
Well, if we have time during Max Talk, I'll show you some of the stuff that I'm doing in LumaFusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
But multi-angle is the thing I basically always do now. And so that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
I
an
gotta
option.
spend more time with it. I don't pay for all this and I don't even use close to enough of what it does, and I should be taking advantage of it because it is a really awesome program. Speaking of awesome programs, Pixelmator, just recently changed their name to now it's called Photomator. And it was released for the iPhone and the iPad. And it was, if you had Pixelmator, it was just an upgrade, and they just renamed it, and they've added some pretty compelling features, and it's still cheaper than buying Photoshop. That does have in-app purchases, so you can add some of the things to it that you can get subscriptions now. So there is a lifetime subscription of $99.99 if you wanted to have a full subscription for it. But this was a free version of it too. Looks like they changed it. I don't know. I paid for it, I believe, if I remember correctly. They were charging for Pixelmator, were they not?
Yeah,
Dave, I might be wrong, but I thought it was Pixelmator Photo.
Yeah.
That's now Photomator, and Pixelmator is still Pixelmator.
Yeah.
Oh, Pixelmator, but the Pixel, you're talking about for the Mac or for iPhone and iPad?
What's Pixelmator Photo?
It was essentially a Pixelmator alternative to Apple Photos.
Oh, like
for
a
iOS.
library kind of thing?
Yeah. A photo editor.
Okay, photo editor.
Yeah, because
Which-
Photomator for the Mac is coming soon. It's in
Okay.
beta right now,
So I use Pixelmator Pro on my Mac all the time.
which is going to become Photomator. And that's what
that
we're
one is
also
going to
gonna
be
talk about.
Photomator.
Mhm. Yeah. Links in the show notes here.
Okay.
So it is going to be in beta, and you can check it out if you can get into the test flight. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty full up, but yeah, they have that too. But I thought so. There is a Pixelmator for. You mean the Pixelmator Photo? You're calling it?
Yeah,
Ben?
as opposed to regular Pixelmator.
So that's still available.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, there's both Pixelmator and Photomator on my iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking a look now. Oh, I see.
Oh.
Pixelmator Photo. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have that one. I have to update it actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a Pixelmator Photo and Video. That's the one you're talking about, right?
Photo and video? Weird.
Yeah, that's got the different icon than the Photomator. I know it's confusing.
Okay.
But-
Yeah, they have a branding issue. I mean,
I
changing the
think they do.
name of the one product will help with the branding issue, but they still
Yeah.
have a branding issue.
Yeah. So just check both those out. We got the links in the show notes for LumaFusion as well as Pixelmator Pro and Pixelmator Photo as well as Photomator. Check that out. So well, before we close things out, I want to say how excited I am that Brittany Smith is going to be attending MacStock for the very first time. And Mike Potter in episode 249, he actually broke the news to us. So all the ITWIOS iOS listeners knew about it before he actually officially announced it and put it on the website. That
Oh,
Brittany
wow.
Smith is going to be speaking at MacStock, and I can't wait. We have not met as yet, and we're going to finally.
I have so many friends here I have not met in
know.
person.
And you're going to
very
meet them
exciting.
all. It's going to be very exciting. So, what? Have you disclosed what you're going to be talking about, or?
To Mike, so I can tell you.
Yeah.
So the theme is learn for the year. And
Right.
so I was gonna go with learn to work smarter, not harder. And so different ways that we can put less effort in, but still get the results we want. So yeah, if anybody has any requests, by all means, let me know. I haven't submitted the description yet.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's going to be a great topic. I don't think maybe I did not announce it to our listeners what I'm going to talk about. So of course I've spoke at MacStock all of the 7 of the years that we've had it in person since it
Wow.
began. So I actually 9 years of. I didn't speak during the virtual sessions, but I got the help behind the scenes, so I got a little taste of both that world during the pandemic years. But the title of my presentation is going to be Cloud Services Demystified and Using Them with Your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. So I'm going to go talk about cloud services like we just talked about today. So it was a good topic today, but we talked more on the angle of losing your iPhone, but this is actually going to be using them and for a good reason. And
Nice.
Jeff is going to be back as well for his first time in
Mhm.
what 5 years? And 2017, I think was the last
Yeah,
time.
I think
you
that's
spoke.
right. I can't believe it's been that long.
And
Yeah.
what was your topic going to be?
The I've come up with the condensed way of describing it. Everything you need to know and wanted to know about high-res audio.
Awesome. I knew that would be, because you're the audio expert.
It's going to be fun.
And Ben, I don't want you to be left out, but there's a whole nother reason why you have to be there.
Yes, my talk will be how to sit in the back of the room and listen to these keynotes.
And we all get to see each other well, Jeff, it's been a long time since I've seen you, but
it's been way too long.
So we'll all get to see each other. So I'm going to keep talking about it every week until it comes up in July, which is July 22nd, 23rd. Tickets are on sale now. We got a link in the show notes, as well as a link to all the speakers that are going to be there. Chuck Joyner's going to be there. Allison Sheridan's going to be there. Wally Cherinsky's going to be there. We're going to have a video contest. There's all going to be all kinds of fun stuff for the 2 days. They've changed the format, so now we're going to be speaking. It's going to throw me off because I've been so used to the way he did it before. We did 20 minutes of a presentation, and then we had 30 or 40 or 45 minutes of a deep dive. Now we're doing the presentation all in one, 45 minutes. So it's going to be a little different from what, since I've done it 7 times, this will be the first time that I'm doing it with this new format. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So like I said, links in the show notes for to register. It's a bargain. If you decide you only wanted to go one day, I would hope you wouldn't do that. You want to go both days. There's so much going on. You're going to get free lunch both days. The other thing, we had Barry Folk on. He's going to be hosting. If you can, come to Chicago a couple days early on that Thursday, the July 20th. He's having the Midwest Mac Barbecue, which he had in first time in 2015, and that was my very first Mac stock. And I am in Chicago, and it is in my backyard, and I only live 10 minutes away from Barry's house, so it was kind of cool to get to know everybody. So it was a little different for me back then. Now I know everybody, so I feel a lot more comfortable hanging out with everybody. But as I was getting to know people, they were very welcoming, bringing me into the group, and we just had absolute blast at Barry's place. He's going to have that's also on MacStock's site too. So
okay, that's on the site, because I was like, what do you do about that?
Yeah, so you can come in a couple of days early, Brittany, and then you can come hang out with us at Barry's place, and then you'd have 2 extra days of because it's Thursday, and then Friday we usually are hanging out close to where MacStock is, and find a place to do an unofficial hangout, and then we got Friday, then we got Saturday and Sunday of the event. So I can't wait. It's going to be super exciting. The website is macstockconferenceandexpo.com. Come out, see us. You're going to have a blast. We're going to have so much fun, and probably going to be one of the biggest events ever. I mean, because it's just a long time coming, and of not being able to do a live event all these years. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. Jeez. And 2019 was the last live event. So, oh no, I'm sorry, 2022 was. What am I thinking? But it was still not the same because we were still at the cusp of the concerns of the pandemic. So, but we pulled it off. It was a good event. So I say how much I thought that wasn't as official, because we didn't have a lot of people to make it, because there's still people who were still a little nervous about it. Don't have to worry about that this year. So come see us. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I thank all of you for being here this week. I think this was an absolute blast, this show, and we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for this week. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming. We have some people in the chat room this week, and that's on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. It's usually Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So come check us out there. You also can listen to past shows, as well as we keep the live show up as well, so you can go back and watch video. You can visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into the magazine. Please, that link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to our show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, but many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at Mastodon.cloud. I'm on Twitter at DaveG65 as well. Brittany Smith, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I always love having you on. Where can people find you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
So yeah, where to find me these days? So I've been taking a TikTok class, which is terrifying. So I've been posting on there. It's the same thing as everything else, ADD Liberator, which I assume will be my handle someday when I make it to Mastodon also. Or if you're trying to look up the worky work stuff I do, my website's conquer.consulting.
Great. Thanks for being here. Jeff Gamet,
Thank
thanks
you.
for being here this week. Where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not hanging out here with all of you, I'm probably on another show hanging out with all of you.
Yes.
Yes.
So on the social medias, Mastodon and Instagram, Jay Gamet. And then for shows, Tuesdays on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live with all of you. And then Thursdays on The Big Show on the British Tech Network. And then here Thursday evenings with you again. And then Fridays back to the British Tech Network for the Mac Show. And then also the Context Machine with Brad Chaffin. I think that's the stuff. Oh, I did The Edition with Charlotte Henry this week.
Yes.
And we
that
had
was
a lot
great
of fun
show.
talking about our favorite streaming content right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure you gave her some thoughts. And I know you gave her some thoughts about HBO and Max.
In fact, I did.
Just like you did last week here. Thanks for being here, Jeff. And Ben Rathick, thank you for being here. We always appreciate you being on the show. Where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Rathick on your social media of choice. You can find me on my website, which is rathick.tech. And you can find me on every podcast that Jeff is on, except for the Context Machine.
That's right. Well, thanks to Ben. Appreciate you being here. And thank you for listening and watching the show. We'd really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun doing it, and we'll talk again soon. Yay. Thank you.
So Brittany at Barry's Barbecue.
Yes, thank you.
He's
I
going
was
to
going to
do
say
a
something.
wine tasting event.
Yes, he is.
Oh, well,
He's the wine
Yeah.
connoisseur.
just saying. Yeah.
We'll drive you home.
Thanks.
Isn't that like a couple thousand miles?
Yeah.
Drive me to whatever
Well-
hotel I'm staying.
Well, the plan is for those who attend his event first to stay at the hotel that's nearby because
Okay.
he's not too far from O'Hare.
Okay.
So which hotel is that? Because I
Oh
need to
gosh,
make a reservation for that night.
there's a Hampton Inn that's right on.
I think Kelly can't go, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, she's going.
That
to
would be my
Edmonds.
Go
Yeah, she'd
to
have
for
to fly. She'd have to leave her conference that she's going to be at
Yeah,
early
and
to
and
come
she's
to
speaking.
Macstock.
that's no
I'm s-
good.
I'm so sad.
I mean, I
No.
really, really tried to pressure her in to doing
Well,
that. And
But also, like, who else would I share a hotel room with if I'm looking for another lady to share a hotel room with? I have limited options.
Well,
Yeah.
if you haven't already booked the Hampton Inn in McHenry, that's the one by Macstock.
Hampton is the
Hampton
one
Inn
for Macstock.
in Mac. Yeah, there's a rate that you can get, the special rate for Macstock.
Okay.
That's on their site. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking like the Hampton Inn, which is on, I think it's on, is that River or Divine? I have to look it up.
I still need to
there-
buy
there-
my plane ticket also. And I've been holding off because I want to coordinate with people because I figure if we're all getting in and leaving around the same time, then it's easier to arrange transportation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always willing to come pick you guys up too. So I'm going to take that day off for sure.
Are
Yeah,
there
it's,
any, cheap
It's on Higgins in Rosemont is the place I was thinking of.
It's been years since I've been in Rosemont.
That's right next to
I've
the-
never been to Chicago except like
Oh
the
my
airport.
God. We're going to have
Yeah,
to give
I've
you a
never,
tour of the
like-
city too.
Left the airport in Chicago.
The only
So
thing is where Macstock
The
is,
whole
it's
thing.
about an hour away from
Yeah,
the airport.
it's
so-
on the very northwest suburbs.
right.
so we're
that-
all
this-
gonna take an Uber XL down. Like, what's the plan?
we'll get
Well,
you
usually I
rides.
take a Metra, but
Yeah, he could. That's right. He could take the Metro and get off at Crystal Lake.
Well, because you're close, unlike me.
He could drive from Iowa, so he's driving.
Yeah.
About
Yeah,
2
so
hours.
this is where part of the coordination comes in, because
Yeah.
I mean, if there's people that are driving up that are local, okay, and the timing works, then maybe we all chip in for gas. Or do we pull our resources and get a rental car? Because it'll be cheaper to do a rental car than to like Uber or taxi
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that way.
I'm stopping
That
live
makes
stream.